on my end, my mother was like Mrs. She was like Mrs. Independent, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever needs to do to put food on the table, she was making it happen. So like I was raised by women, basically. I mean, I got some uncles here and there that was
Mm-hmm.
doing what they need to do or whatever. We can get into that later. But as
Mm-hmm.
far as like role models and people that you like emulated, like there were all women in my household, to be honest
Yep.
with you. So I've seen independent woman after independent woman after independent woman. Every one of them that have gotten married or were in serious relationships has some form of submitting to their significant other, and the vice versa, you know, based on
Right.
like how strong you are, what you're strong in, or what you need work in. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think, like I said again, I don't think it's a gender thing, but I
Mm-hmm.
do get where it comes from as far as like submit, especially now, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I don't need no man, or I don't need no. Well, no man's ever saying I don't need no woman. Usually the other way around. Like I don't need no man. I can do that by myself or whatever. I'm like, all right, I
Yeah.
get it. Go ahead, sister soldier. I got you.
Not Sister Soldier. Just to let everybody know who's watching, feel free, like, you know, if you want to ask a question, that's something I want to start
Facts.
doing more. Feel free to ask questions. But Desiree just said, wives, submit to your husbands. Husband, love your wives as Christ loved the church. And that's a word. It's like, you can't expect me as a woman to be submitting to you, submitting to you. But then on the end, you're not fulfilling me and loving me the
Exactly.
way I should be loved as a woman who is devoted to you and submitting to you. So that is the exchange. You
And
gotta.
an important thing, when not to cut you off, is that
No, it's fine.
all women are not loved the same way. I think some people feel that way when it comes to this specific conversation
Mm-hmm.
in regards to women. Like all women are loved differently. Like you got to love women differently based on what they like. In
Yes.
regards to that, a lot of men think they do boom, 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 boom. She should be happy. What's wrong with her?
Yeah.
You know.
A
So
lot of
let me
men
get that
think
out the
that.
way. Let me get that out the way now, because I know they're gonna be in the messages trying to hit me up.
Yes. They think that if they drop bomb dick on you,
Oh, we doing that. Let me pull it real quick. I didn't know we was doing that.
we
I didn't
always
know we
do
was
this.
doing that.
We always do
Oh
this.
God.
It's Wind
Oh,
Down
I'm pouring
Wednesday.
now. Oh God.
Some men really think that like that's it, and like, you know, buying you a little gift, but you have to know your person's love language and
Of
love
course.
them in the way they need to be loved. So that was a
Hmm.
word, Chris. Not
Yeah.
every woman can be loved the same way. So
Yeah.
with that being said, um the next question I had for you was, what role do you think submissiveness plays when it comes to gender roles? So by that, I mean, submissiveness traditionally is seen as like a woman to a man thing.
Yeah.
But does that necessarily always have to be the case? Like you said earlier, can submissiveness be kind of gender neutral? And if so, what do you think that would look like?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think it should be gender neutral. Like I
Mhm.
personally feel like it doesn't matter who's submitting to who, but that's more so like of a. It depends on how strong your communication is with your woman or your man. Like you got to know exactly where who's strong at what and who's weak at what. For instance, like if your woman's got the bills on lock and her financial literacy is on 100, and you
Mhm.
like to go out with your boys and you spend all the money, you should probably submit to your woman when it comes to getting stuff together, or we want to save for the house. What she says goes.
Uh-huh.
You know, and if you're better on something else, you need to make that very clear and let her know and got that. But like as far as submitting, like that should be just, there's no gender for that, in my opinion. Like, and
Mhm.
if you're all the way around a beta, whether you're a woman or man, and
Mhm.
your partner is an alpha, then you should take that lead.
A word. Because it's true. It's like, okay, if you're not good in a certain aspect, but your
Hmm.
wife is, why would you then not have enough discernment to say, maybe
Hmm.
I should take the back seat on this one? But you
Ego.
know what it is? It's the ego. It's
Yeah.
the ego. Some people's ego, they're so ego driven that even though they see that their partner, whether it be the woman or the man, may be
Yeah.
stronger in a certain sense, they want to be in control. They want to be the one calling the shots. And it's like, it don't always have to be like that. Like, take a
Yeah.
back seat in the areas that you're not strong. That's okay. There's
Yeah. But
nothing wrong with that.
that's a lot of us, and I'm gonna put myself in it because I was there too. A lot of us don't grow up like that, you know. Like we're taught,
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, you go out there, you go farm the food and bring it back. So what you say goes, like in regards to that. So a lot of us have to change our whole thinking by the time we get grown.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing at times if you meet a good woman and you learn about yourself, like, you know, I'm not good at this. Some people can't come to that point where they have to be humble
Yes.
and let that man lead, you know, like, or let
Mhm.
that woman lead, or it could be the
Exactly.
inverse in regards to that. So yeah.
Yeah. It's true. It's a lot of ego tied up into it. Somebody
Yeah.
just asked a pretty good question. Looks by Danny V just asked, do you think it's different how you submit to a boyfriend / girlfriend versus a wife / husband? That's a really good question, and I really
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not submitting to my girl like my wife. Now don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in a good relationship and it's long term and my girl's great at certain things, I'm gonna submit to that. But like
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like we gotta stop mixing this husband and girlfriend thing too much, man. Like your girl's your girl, but your wife is different. Like now
And,
God's involved,
mm-hmm.
other things are involved and stuff like that. Or just spirituality, like there
Mm-hmm.
are other things involved, your families are involved. Like you can have you have a girlfriend for a year and a half, 2 years, and she met like 3 people in your family. Once you
Right.
get married, the whole squad know what it is. If you get married, we
Mm-hmm.
all coming to your wedding.
Right.
You know what
That's
I
a
mean?
word because it's like I think that's what happens with a lot of women, right? And I think this is why men need to understand that like there's certain things that women reserve for marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And submitting to men in certain ways may be a part of them holding back all the parts of themselves that a man who's not their husband does not necessarily deserve. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I think that a lot of men don't respect that boundary. A lot of
They
them
don't.
have this thing where it's like, I want it now, and I want it all. I want
And
to
that's
suck
it.
you dry. Like,
Oh God.
until you,
Dame
huh?
actually asked a good question just now in regards
What
to
he
that.
said.
You know him. Dame's never gonna let me just breeze by. He's gonna say something. Ever. He said, people always say what they would do in a marriage, but shouldn't you do those things before in order to realize this is someone you want to marry? I do agree with him, but when we're talking about girlfriends and like wives and husbands, I'm thinking early, like less than a year, girlfriend, boyfriend, stuff like. Once you graduate into other things, then yeah, it's becoming this relationship is starting to look like more and more like a marriage. So you should include that stuff. But when you were saying originally, I was thinking about someone that's just fresh in a relationship and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with what he's saying, but at the same time, I do feel like there's certain parts of yourself that you should reserve. Especially as women, we have to do that because
Like what?
maybe sex for some people, maybe
Oh, okay.
sleeping over the man's house for some people,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not. I don't know. Like there's certain things. It looks different for everybody, but
Yeah.
I don't think that you giving up all of yourself to a man is submitting or being you not giving up so much of yourself is you being like combative when you're not married to that person. That's you reserving yourself for that special
You got
person
to
and
say,
not,
yeah.
yeah,
I
you're not
agree.
giving husband privileges to a man who's not your husband and you don't even know where it could go. You could be with somebody for 3-4 years and you think you're going to get married to them and
I see.
shit don't
I didn't
materialize.
know we was going down this route because this is we going down this route. But you are right. Like when it comes to it, like yo, it's scary. I can imagine it's scary out there, like meeting somebody, dating them, and being with them so long and it don't work out. Like I don't understand. And explain if you could. Like I don't. I always wonder what the actual woman's thinking when they put so much time in and it doesn't work out, and you gotta start from scratch. When you've done that, like the submitting to certain things, and you in year 3, 4, and something happens and you guys break up.
Yeah.
It
But
sounds
that's a
like
whole
it's
nother rabbit hole that
we
so
can't
I'm
go
gonna just
down.
push that to the side real quick. That was a
Yeah,
good
you're right
question, Danny B. Thank you for asking that question. So the
for
next
sure.
question was I hear this a lot. So some women claim that they exude feminine energy and they're just full of all this feminine energy, but at the same time they don't consider themselves to be submissive. So I'm just wondering, do you think as a man that the two can live together in the same person? So exuding
Yeah,
feminine energy, but not being a submissive woman.
yeah. You could do that. I mean, from what I'm understanding, that just makes it seem like you're saying you can't be a woman unless you submit to somebody. That's what it sounds like. I think I'm just saying, like you can do either or. Like again, I don't think it's gender specific, is what I'm trying to say. So you can be a full woman with feminine energy and not submit to somebody. I also believe submitting to somebody. First of all, males and females. Someone don't shoot me for that because I heard that's bad to say male and females. Man and woman. I feel like because they're gonna start shooting at me over here. I don't want no smoke with nobody. But anyway, men and women, like when it comes to submitting, like it shouldn't. I think people put too much work into it as far as like thinking like what they need to do when it comes to like that's something that's natural. Like it's a form of trust when it comes to submitting somebody.